so I will keep sharing with you what happened next. So as I realized that I was stuck in a toxic, emotionally abusive relationship, I determined that this relationship could no longer be saved, and that I needed to, make my choice to either stay in this relationship or to end it. So I determined that it needed to be ended, and I started the process of divorce. And so I kind of entered a couple of years of pure hell. It was really rough. It was just like a roller coaster ride that I could have never imagined that I would go through. But now, looking back at that time, I smile, because I now know it was needed. It was a huge demolition of everything that needed to die, to be destroyed, so that the new could take place, could be born, and I could rebuild my life. So my ex-husband made it super hard to divorce him. It was like huge anger outburst, and I would also outburst in anger matches. We were scream at each other, call each other names, and I would come to this bird park and scream at the top of my lungs that I hated him, how I wanted him to disappear from the face of this earth, and how he's just a horrible ugly person. So all this anger, all these emotions of upset and frustration were pouring out of me, and every step of the way he was fighting me. So I physically moved out, and then I found a paralegal company, and I prepared the divorce papers, and he would throw the papers in my face. He said he will not give me the divorce, that I must stay with him, and it was just insane. And then I went through pure hell with him. And so what I was doing at that time, I was establishing my clear boundaries. Now I know that was what's going on. I was just standing up for myself and saying no to all his tactics, how he was trying to control the situation. And again, remember, so we were both wounded, and so what we were doing, we were projecting our wounds on each other. He was trying to control the situation because he doesn't know any better, or he didn't know any better at that time. And I was reacting from the place of my personal wounds, not being good enough. Later I'll explain to you how I dug it up and cleared it. But so two wounded people are just reacting to each other. So I was establishing my clear boundaries, and I clearly remember when all of this was happening, my ex-husband said, "Where is this all self-love coming from?" So that's key. So the self-love started to show up in me, and I just clearly remember that it's just it just stuck in my memory that that's what it was about. I was learning how to self-love myself, and in that establishing my clear boundaries. So let's see. So there were crazy times, and even he even threatened to kill me. And I remember that I stood up for myself in an angry, protective, a crazy bear way. So one time, he was threatening me, or threatening a person who he thought I was dating, whatever. He was saying, "I'll hire someone and kill you." So I remember I was really scared. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I went through a huge time of fear, pure fear. So I would cry, and I would call my friends and say, "I don't know what to do, I'm scared," hide at my friend's place, and this and that. And then I remember one day it just came to me. I called him and I said, and I was cussing. I was like an angry, crazy bear. I said, "Listen, you MF, I am not F scared of you. You can kill me all you want, but if you kill me, first of all, you'll go to jail. So our daughter will lose her mother, and she will lose her father. So that is, do whatever. I'm not scared of you anymore." So I lost that fear, because before he was controlling me by putting me into the fear mode. So once I did that, he immediately retreated. He immediately retreated and tried to call me and write to me like nothing happened. And I also remember calling police on him when he was threatening me, and the police officer couldn't really go and do anything physically, but he asked me, do you want me to call him? And I said, of course, please call him, because I was at the point of like a nervous breakdown. I was crying in front of the police station, and so the police officer called him and he talked to him, and that changed things. So I stood up for myself, not in the best shape or form, but I didn't know any better. And he stopped his threats. He realized this is the boundary he cannot cross. And so that was just, those were the messiest times, the ugliest times, the scariest times, but I kept pushing through. So I moved out physically, I found an apartment, and I just, started figuring out what's going on in me. I just started totally trusting my heart. I knew that I was unhappy, and I needed to trust my heart and listen to what the heart was telling me. At the same time, I need to mention to you, so as I'm going through this crazy stuff with my ex-husband, I become attracted like to no one else in my life, to this special person that I met on Instagram. So I met him because I believe I followed some artsy sites, because I really love nature, and I love posting pictures of nature and just artistic shots. And so one of his pictures stood out. He's just an amazing photographer, and it was like a beautiful woman, I think